I'm Eddie Field with Field Guide to DIY, and in this episode I'm going to show you step by step the easiest way to touch up wall paint around your house. Let's dive in. Now, step one, we're going to survey the entire house with some blue painter's tape. We're going to mark every mark on the wall. We're talking scuff marks, any place there was a wall anchor where that shelf was removed, thumbtack marks. If you got all the equipment out, you don't want to have to go back and do it again. Now, we're fortunate in that the entire house is this shade of paint, so we're only going to have to load the pan once, and then we're going to carry around that pan throughout the entire house. All we have to do is move the drop cloth. Now, once we have all the places marked, then we can survey, okay, what needs to take place? Are we going to need to remove any wall plates? Are we going to need to spackle? But step one is to mark all these wall spots. Thumbtack marks. Those are tricky. We're going to have to push them in before we spackle over them. I've got fast drying spackle. You don't have to put your blue painter's tape right on the marks, but next to it. Even these luggage marks, even this crack from settling, we're going to try and touch that up. And sometimes, regardless of how little you want to do and how much just touch up you want to do, you're going to have to paint a bigger area like under this bar. It's always easier to take off the outlet cover and put a piece of tape over that than to tape the switch plate or remove the paint. And always put the screw back in the middle of the outlet. It's easier to find the switch plate, as big as that is, than the screw, as little as that is. With thumbtack and push pin holes, when you pull out the thumbtack, it sometimes makes like a volcano shape, and you're going to have to do a lot more sanding. And so what I like to do, I like to create a little divot, a little more recess for the spackle to get in there. With the butt of my 15-in-1 tool, I smack it in there a bit. That makes a recess for the spackle to get in there. You can also scrape out the head of that thumbtack hole. When you're removing old wall anchors to patch them, you may need a screw or a pair of needle nose pliers to pull out the old wall anchor. Just get it started and work it loose. Just like so. Now we made a volcano there, so we're going to take that down, we're going to smack it in and scrape off the excess. We're going to apply it going down and scrape it off going across. Apply it going down, scrape it off going across. Now we do a little light sanding to take off the high spots. Now I give you permission to use a drop cloth. The wall is already white, so we're not going to need a lot of paint on here. I'm just going to put a little bit of paint, just enough to cover the roller, and then we're going to feather it out. We're going to apply the paint, then we're going to feather it out. Feathering means get a dry roller and just work it out. Work out the paint that you've applied to the edge. You can't feather in if it's not exactly the same shade. In one afternoon, I touched up the entire house. Looks tons better. For more home improvement tips and tricks, click the image on your screen now.